Oh, the Dread. It's so much better than the Lens. It can scale later into later game. Oh god, the Lens is amazing. It's so much better than the Dread. It has better crowd control, and yeah, my build's better than yours is. Oh well, did you know that the Dread has slash damage and it can actually stop. Felines, it's time to stop. Tenno, stop. What is the one thing that I personally dread in Warframe, and I have for the longest time? If you don't know already, it's comparisons. People comparing. Now, see, Felines, the great thing about Warframe is that there is a massive amount of weapons that you can choose from, or Warframes, or companions to play with. And the thing is, no matter what excuse you come up with, every Tenno, every player has the option to use any weapon they need to, whether it's buying it easily from the market or going out and setting out and making it their objective to get the parts to build it. Regardless, anyone can get any weapon or Warframe or whatever. Of course, you know, minus Excalibur Prime and the exclusives. That's a no-brainer. But when someone goes out of their way to tell you which weapon is the best, in their opinion, that really grinds my gears. Welcome back to Ridiculous Rants. It is an old series that I thought I would bring back up because there are some things that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and comparisons in Warframe is definitely one of them. If you don't know and you haven't seen a Ridiculous Rants before, it's basically where I go on a rant about whatever the subject may be, talk about it, give my opinion on it, and how I feel about it. So recently, if you didn't know, the Lens just came out. It is a brand new bow. It is a corpus style bow, but it's not like your typical bow. It is more, in my case, more of a launcher. It has a very small ammo count. It does a big amount of damage in a big area. It doesn't by any means do a lot of damage to one single target. It does more damage to more enemies in the area, and it has more element-based damage than it does raw damage like slash or puncture or impact. And people have already jumped on this like a tiger on a gazelle. They're thinking, oh, you know what? The Dread is a million times better than the Lens because it doesn't have slash. You can't bring it into late game or end game. And then, of course, on the other side, you got people saying, oh, the Lens is like insanely better than the Dread. My 7 Forma build, my 8 Forma build for the Lens can totally destroy your Dread, and that shit is just, I love it. Thank you. I need more of that. That hasn't been done before at all, by any means, ever in the community. So what does this mean for new players? Well, when people come into the game and they don't know much about what is good and what's bad, you have people like this giving things misleading information to their ears, basically saying, you know what, you shouldn't go out and go build the Lens. You should just stick to the Dread, kill the Stalker, get the Dread, and just use it. Get a 7 Forma, 8 Forma build for it, and just be content with that. The reason why I hate comparisons so much in Warframe is because there are, like I said at the beginning of the video, there are so many weapons in the game that are just waiting to be obtained by you and used and played with, because not every weapon is built the same way. Like I said, for comparison's sake, you have the Lens, which is a launcher type bow. You shoot the arrow out and it makes a big area of effect, and of course everything inside of that bubble will be destroyed. And then you have the Dread, which is completely different. It is an actual bow style bow where you shoot an arrow and it shoots into an enemy and it kills one enemy at a time. Or of course more if you're aiming and you have multiple enemies in a row. Regardless, two very different weapons. Why do you feel the need to compare them to each other? And I'll tell you what it is. It's because it's what I call a king mentality. When you have something that's really good and is pretty much king dog, it's the best of pretty much everything in this category. You have something that tries to come up and take over the king spot, which it's more of an intimidation factor. People are saying like, oh, look at this, a new bow. It's the Lens, and it has a 50% critical chance at base. Kinda like the Dread. So with a point strike mod on there installed full rank, it's 125% critical chance, just like the Dread. So when they see that, they go full savage mode. They try to find any excuse to basically prove their point that the Dread is better than this weapon. And honestly, there's no reason to compare these two things together. They're completely different weapons, and they need to be categorized in their own different ways, because the lens is phenomenal. And I'm going to talk about this later. I'll show you guys the build and I'll show you guys a little bit of testing with it. And the dread is also really good. You can scale into really late game with it. So really, there's no need to choose which is better, the lens or the dread. They're both great. If you guys are always trying to figure out what is the absolute best, you'll never have the time of the day to go out and get parts or the platinum to buy things like the lens and try it out, because the lens is an extremely fun weapon to use. It's like the whole deal with the Soma Prime and the Tenora. The Tenora is a great weapon. It is similar in stats to the Soma Prime, but it does not rank supreme when it comes to assault rifles with crits. Soma Prime still takes the cake and eats it. But the Tenora is a lot of fun to use in my opinion, and it does have an alternate. It has a really powerful single shot fire, so it's fun to use, but yeah, it's not as good as the Soma Prime. And when people hear that, they're like, oh, what, you're using the Tenora? Why don't you just use the Soma Prime? It's better. Like, my dude, stop comparing, okay? There's no need to compare. Two different items with similar stats, you don't need to compare them. Anyway, yeah, getting back to the lens and the dread, I have both. I have them formaed quite a bit. The lens, I have 4 forma on that, and the dread has 4 forma as well. They both do about the same amount of damage. Of course, the dread does scale further into late game. If you have, if you have Griffin mods for the dread, yeah, of course, it's gonna probably reign supreme on top. But there's no reason to not play with other weapons. There's a lot of weapons in Warframe, melees, secondaries, primaries, and there's no reason to not try them all out at least once before harshly judging it and being like, oh, you know what, you're right, it's not as good. Go out there, give it a try, see how it is. Anyway, that's about it for the ridiculous rants aspect. The last bit of the video, I do actually want to cover the lens a little bit, so we have it right here. And honestly, it looks really good in my opinion. You guys can leave the video now if you want to, or you can stay around for the build. I'm just going to be showcasing the build just a little bit. So here is the lens. The stats here, we have 125% critical chance. We have a 4.4 multiplier. Fire rate is at 2 seconds. Yeah, overall, it's pretty good stats. No status chance, just a lot of corrosive, 10,000 corrosive, 5,000 blast, and 79 cold damage. And of course, here is the build for it. So we have corrosive at the top here with just element mods, and then we have our crit mods over here, and then we have serration, heavy caliber, and split chamber, and then of course speed trigger to add more fire rate to charge back faster and release the arrows faster. Now as for the dread, we have the stats here. We have 4 forma as well on this build. We have 125% critical chance again. We have a 4.4 multiplier once again, 2.20 attack speed, which is the same thing. We have a little bit more status chance this time, which is a little bit better, more of an advantage. And then we have radiation and slash. This is just a certain build. I have other builds with different elements, but basically you get the gist of it. More raw damage, more slash, and not as much element damage. And the build for it is right here. So we have serration, split chamber, speed trigger, our element mods here. We can switch it out. We'll go over to the corrosive build. Here it is, corrosive. And then we have our main mods here, speed trigger, fanged fusillade for more slash, and then our crit mods here. So for forma, once again, same thing. So yeah, let's go test it out. All right, so you've seen the build already. I already showcased it. So now we're gonna use it against a level 135 heavy gunner with a lot of armor. And of course, keep in mind, these are elements. Most of the damage from the lens is elemental damage, but for the most part, it doesn't do terrible. So I'll show you guys. Here it goes. We're gonna try to go for headshots only. 3, 4, 5. Okay, 4, never mind. 4 shots and he's dead. Not bad, not too bad. Here it is against a level 100 heavy gunner. We'll just try to see how fast we can do this. 1 shot to the head. Oh yeah, it takes a really good bit of damage. Oh man, damn, not bad. Like, I know it's eventually it's gonna drop off damage after a while, it being in like a MOT survival or something. Yeah, it's gonna drop off damage. But for mid game and pretty easy content stuff, this is really good because it does cover a wide range, as you can see there. And yeah, I mean, it really does perform really well. Does a lot of damage. Just because the video is all about comparisons and how I hate it, I might as well just show off my dread build too. Why not? I'm not trying to compare the two. I'm just trying to show you guys that yes, you know what, if you do use the dread a lot and you have like a really good build for it, yeah, it's gonna probably do better damage. Because slash, like I said, slash is really important when you're scaling. So I'd say what, 6 shots? It's not bad though. It's pretty good. All right, now let's try against a level 135 heavy gunner and see how this does. Using the corrosive build now. Yeah, it's good. Good damage. Really good damage, good slash, good crits. All around, both great weapons. And personally, if you don't use both, you just stick to using one because you think that it's better or you think that someone told you wrong, well, don't listen to them. I'd say go for it. They're both great weapons, like I said. I can probably tell though, for a little while, I'm gonna probably be using the lens for a little bit because I think it's more fun to use, more versatile. It can cover a wide range. You can kill more enemies with it, and but yeah, if I ever go into late game, I'll probably bring a droid with me more than anything. Anyway, this has been Ridiculous Rants. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the build too, the lens build. I was gonna make a video purely on the lens, but since I've been seeing a lot of controversy in the community and comparison in the community about people saying the dread's better or the lens is better, it kind of got me heated a little bit. I'm like, you know what? I need to make a Ridiculous Rants. I need to make a video on, you know, about this. But I hope you guys did enjoy the build and the video. And yeah, I recommend you guys check out the lens. It's a good weapon. They've buffed it a little bit since they actually came out. So yeah, check it out. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments below. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching, guys. My name is M.C.I.K or CJ. I will see you guys for tomorrow's video. Have a fantastic day. Don't smoke crack. It's not a good life choice. I don't recommend.